got an audition. I'm so excited for you. Here's a bunch of bad advice for auditions. When you tell people you've got an audition, you will start getting advice from people, and so often it's bad. Like, you have to add a button. Oh, let me tell you what a button is. A button is like a little line at the end of the audition, so you get the last word and they remember you. But when it feels gimmicky, certainly it's much more popular in commercial auditions, but even in theatrical auditions, people will do it. If it makes sense and you can edit it out if you don't like it, great, go ahead and do it. But you don't have to come up with something. Let the writer's words stand on their own. You do not have to come up with a button. And sometimes it's so annoying to watch takes with people doing just weird random things at the end because they want to get noticed. We're watching your audition. We are noticing you. You know, you need to always ask a question. Come in with a question so that they know that you've prepared. Don't waste the casting director's time. If you have a question, ask the question, but don't come up with a question just so you have one when you're in the room. It's ridiculous and gimmicky again. Also, people will say, well, you want to make sure that the casting director or the director, they get to know you first. So don't come in character, come in as yourself. They're not looking for a date. They're not looking to get to know you. They are looking to cast the role. Now, if after the audition or even before they want to talk to you and they want to ask you questions, you can answer as yourself, but I would wait to talk with them after the audition is over. Especially if you're doing a character that's very different than you. You're somebody who's maybe the character is super high energy and you are not a very high energy person, so you need to really, all right, get in there, have it, right, and then it's like, well, they know as soon as you walk through the door if you're right for the role or not. So really, come in the character, solve their problem. They're looking to cast that part. Don't worry about them getting to know you. If they're casting a role for a real jerk, come in as a real jerk. Doesn't mean you have to be rude to them and going out of your way, but you don't want to be all sweet and sunny and your really lovely self and then transform. They don't want to watch you transform. They want to cast the part. I know it's so hard. Actors, you want everybody to like you. You want everybody to get to know who you are personally. There will be time for that. But first, help them solve their problem by bringing in the character that you created that you think is right for their project. You should bring in props. If there's a weapon, if you need to have a knife, you should bring in a knife. Never. I'm not even comfortable having this video out there without that qualifier on there. No, do not bring in props. Now, if your character's using a phone, you can bring in your cell phone. I'd turn it off so it doesn't ring in the middle of what you're doing. If your character's got a backpack or a purse or there's something like that, that is fine. But if they're cooking, you don't need to bring in a knife and a cutting board. If you're using a bat, I wouldn't bring that in. You don't need to bring in props. If it's really important to the scene, they will probably have it there for you to use, right? So, of course, if you're doing a self-tape, you can do whatever you want in your own home. I was working with an actor once who had to be performing surgery in an audition, so we had her cutting a papaya, but it was out of frame, and so then she was able to, open it up and scoop stuff out, and she was able to do all of that business, but it was all out of frame, so you couldn't see what she was doing. She sent me a picture afterwards of her destroyed papayas. When you've got somebody that you're reading with, especially on a self-tape, they need to be monotone and flat so that they don't distract from your read. These things must be said by people who've never watched tapes where that has happened. There is nothing more distracting than a completely flat and monotone reader. It's the weirdest when you're watching it. It becomes so distracting. Just have the person talk and listen. They don't have to overact, of course, is terrible as well, right? No, it's like, You don't want that on the other side of your audition either. But just somebody who is talking and listening. That's all you need. Don't worry about the first take. Casting director will always give you another one since they know you're nervous. Maybe. I mean, everybody who's coming in is nervous. I don't think they're planning to do 2 to 3 takes for every person. Don't worry. That's good advice. Don't worry about any of it. Don't worry about losing out on a role. Don't worry about any of that. Go in there and have fun and show what you can do. This is your opportunity to act. Take it, embrace it, enjoy it. But don't have any expectations that casting director is going to bend over backwards to accommodate you in any of the sessions that they have. They're wonderful people. They always want to do whatever they can to get the best performance out of the actor, but I wouldn't make any assumptions at all. They've got a really hard job to do. So help them to do it by coming in prepared, doing a great take, and when you get a second one, doing something a little different with that. So you should make excuses and let them know that you're not prepared so you can lower their expectations so then they can be really blown away by the work you do. It's crazy making the things that people will say. No. Show up prepared. If you cannot be prepared, let your manager or agent know the reasons why, and they can reschedule. Nobody wants to watch an unprepared actor, and nobody wants to listen to excuses. The amount of time that it takes for you to come up with excuses, you could have been preparing. So if you really want this job, if you want these roles, come in prepared, enthusiastic, happy that you have the audition, and give the craft of acting the respect it deserves by preparing. Hopefully every casting director who's bringing you in has high expectations, right? You're an actor. This is what you do for a living. Let's enjoy that. So for a self-tape, you want to make sure, and even when you're in the room in an audition, you got to look at the reader and lock in on them so you can have a really intense audition. Oh, please no. No. You want to be able to create a whole environment, have your imaginary wall, have that relaxation. Staring at a reader is something nobody ever does except for in an audition when you're really nervous, maybe self-conscious. Maybe you're not very well prepared, so you're staring at that person, but you see the script in front of your face, right? Oh, there's a lines. Any of those behaviors that aren't natural and aren't relaxed, relaxation is so important for an audition. And nobody is relaxed if they are just staring at the person that is reading, or just looking at them intently, even if you're blinking from time to time. It's a very unusual thing that most of the time no humans or maybe robots do. So you're doing a self-tape, your lighting and your sound need to be perfect. Perfect background, perfect backdrop, perfect everything. No, they're not hiring you to be the DP, to be the sound engineer, to be the sound operator. You do want to be able to be seen, you want to be well lit, and you want to be able to be heard. If you've got a take where the acting is great and there's a siren in the background, I would submit that one. But if we can't see you or we can't hear you, that's not good. So it just has to be enough that we can see and hear you. And I've heard of casting offices where they've asked people to submit again. They can tell that they're good actors, but whatever happened, it's not a good take. Can you submit again? But don't count on that either. It doesn't matter when you show up. You can submit your audition anytime. Submit it late. Who cares? Casting cares. Get your audition in as soon as possible. That doesn't mean unprepared. It's just as soon as you're able to. So if you have until Friday at 5, I wouldn't wait until Friday at 4:59 to start trying to submit it, because they're looking to cast it. But also you don't have to get it in the second that you receive it, because the first one in is going to book it. You want to get it in when you can, in the deadline, well prepared and done. And for an in-person audition, they have set up a session. They know when people are coming. If you are going to be late or you can't make your time, they need to know, and they need to know as soon as possible, and they might not be able to see you. You can't assume just because you show up that they're going to be able to see you. They might be reading another character, or maybe the producers that wanted to be there to watch the audition aren't going to be there in the afternoon. So if your audition's in the morning, you better show up in the morning. Of course, if something happens, be in communication, but be respectful and professional. And professional is turning in your auditions on time and showing up at your appointed time. That's all my bad advice. But wait, I'm sure I've got more. Please like, comment, subscribe. It means the world to me. And let me know if you've heard any other bad ideas, bad advice for acting, for auditions. I'd love to hear them, and let's dispel them. Okay? Thanks. See you next week. Here are the things that bad, blah, blah, blah. Are we tiki-talking it?
Yes.